farming is such a long-term experiment. And you get one shot every year. So you could try something 3 times and it takes 3 years to see any meaningful side-by-side of what it is. And that's the challenge with crop planning is, you know, there's so many variables.
Hi folks, welcome back to the Farmcast. I'm Katie and here we are with Amanda. We're at Amberwaves. What's going on?
We are at Amberwaves, a 35-acre fruit and vegetable and grain and flower and herb farm on eastern Long Island. And we are sitting here today with Amelia, our extraordinary farm manager. And we're talking to Amelia about so many topics. But the thing that I'm excited to talk with Amelia about today, and something that I think any non-farmer who's listening will benefit from, is this concept of season review, of thinking back about the season that we've just had and being, you know, thinking of constructive criticism and being self-critical about how can we improve each season. So we're fortunate as annual growers that we kind of get a clean slate every year, and so we're about to kind of unpack season review that Amelia's been doing with the crew over the last, month or so.
I love season review so much. It's such a major part of how we plan for the season ahead. We do this every fall. It is a very rigorous process over multiple hours, multiple days. And we do 2 kind of series. We do a crop review series, which is very line by line and it can be sometimes so in the weeds, but is very helpful.
People really getting heated about which cucumber variety is their favorite.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, what do you mean you don't think we should do picklers anymore? I think we should do picklers.
It's critical.
Yeah,
yes,
it gets
exactly.
And sometimes in that process, I find myself defending a point that I'm like, I don't even know that I care about this, actually. Let's just move on. You know, like, why am I going to bat so hard for this one variety of zucchini? I don't care. We can all just move on.
And so, and when we're doing that of the variety review, so we grow 60 crops, but like more than 500 varieties of 60 crops.
Yeah.
And so how many varieties of tomatoes did we grow this year?
Oh my God, like 50, right. 60?
So so we're trying to then find the winners and the losers to say, this wasn't productive or it wasn't flavorful. Yeah. And then you'll have someone say—
Chef's choice. You can say the word chef's choice and trigger an entire group of farmers because
why? Because
there's a lot of contention about the yellow chef's choice. Some people find them too mealy.
Which is a
high loom. Technically, it's a hybrid
of what crop?
Of tomatoes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Just want to being specific.
So is that an example of the name of the tomato?
Name of the tomato, chef's choice.
Necessarily reflective of farmer's choice.
It is not farmer's choice, I'll tell you that much, and it's not making the crop plan next year.
There we go, got the axe.
Cut. Yeah, so it's like very, very contentious conversations like that, contentious in a productive way, of course. And then we also have—
Because people get emotionally attached to it. Because there are things that I, have an emotional attachment to.
Radicchio.
What a great radicchio year.
It was a great
radicchio year.
It's phenomenal. It's
Two new varieties.
Still happening. Phenomenal.
Yeah,
beautiful colors, heirloom varieties, Italian.
Thank you for saying that.
So
we did it.
I could tell.
But people get—
Your radicchio passion came all the way through.
Emotionally attached to a variety and of an entire crop. And it's like—
You're very attached to Matt's Wild.
I'm so attached to Matt's Wild.
But there's a replacement now, Jasper, which think is better.
I disagree.
Oh, no, see.
Here we are. We're getting into season review.
Right now.
Why I disagree about it?
Why?
Because so Matt's Wild Cherry is this beautiful small cherry tomato that you cut the entire truss. So you cut the whole end of the vine when 8-ish out of 10 of the tomatoes on the vine or on the truss have ripened, and they're very small, smaller than a standard cherry tomato. I'm trying to think of what it's the same.
They're like the size of like a currant.
Yeah, maybe a little bigger than a currant. But they're beautiful and they're flavorful, and I happen to love harvesting them. You must harvest them with clippers.
That's a real divisive one. If you like Matt's Wild,
this is the same reason that you and I split ways on Swiss chard, because you're like, no. And I like, because I love to do the slice, and you're like, don't do that.
I love getting every color.
So I love them. I think that they're so flavorful, and
they taste incredible.
But the reason that we did Jasper this year, right?
We did Jasper. We did both.
Is that they after they've been harvested for a couple of days, if they're like in the fruits let go of the vine.
Yeah.
And so in a pint container in the market, you'll walk by and there's just a twig on top, twig on top of a pint container of tomatoes. Whereas the Matt's Wild, they hold their shape and they just look beautiful in that pint container. And that's
well, okay. So maybe next year.
So
really, that's making my case.
I mean, and this is a good indication of why crop review is important, and also why farming is such a long-term experiment. It's like we're not going to be able to see what the Matt's Wild and Jasper look like side by side until next August. This is very long-term thinking, and it's like our garlic plastic experiment, where for years we were planting garlic in white plastic mulch and black plastic mulch, and we were trying to figure out what's yielding bigger bulbs
at which time. Like, do we plant, with the green garlic, do we want it in the white or the black? Because do we want to speed those heads up, or do we want to slow them down so they don't bulb out? And so we're trying to do these trials of like 3, 1, 3, but then also with the different varieties
and different spacing.
And it's like it gets to be a beautiful mind pretty quick there.
Yeah, you get one shot every year. So you could try something 3 times and it takes 3 years to see any meaningful side by side of what it is. And that's the challenge with crop planning is, there's so many variables. Like last year we had terrible pepper disease that, impacted our yields by 2/3. And would we react and say, okay, let's like bump up our pepper seeding so we don't have that happen again? And then
or the other direction, cut it entirely. Say we don't want to deal with this disease pressure
and
anymore.
like what is the right approach? And this last year, because we had so few hot peppers because of our issues with Phytophthora, this season we expanded our hot pepper production and we had thousands of pounds of hot peppers. Fatima and her team couldn't make hot sauce fast enough. And so it's like, how do you
weave that together? It's funny. I was saying this to Katie the other day when we were traveling somewhere, and I brought up the speckled Roman tomato because I
want to bring it back
because you grew a speckled Roman, and I said it's so funny, Katie, that because we are not necessarily in the crop review, and speckled Roman is something that we used to grow for years, and ultimately we found like this just isn't productive enough. Although, we're better farmers now, though. Like our systems are better, our disease control is better, our plant, And so we'd be better at it now than we used to be, but we cut it before. And it's been funny for me to see kind of on the side of, this it's interesting. We decided 9 years ago to cut this variety, and here it is back again, like making another try.
Tried and true. I mean, I think that it's back for a reason, and when I see it, it brings me joy. It's like, it's just not another San Marzano.
No, it's beautiful.
San Marzano with
beautiful.
pizzazz.
And
the flavor is
unmatched.
So, you're absolutely, we agree on that. Okay, so we
which
do
is a reason to choose to grow the crop.
It is.
The flavor is unmatched.
Exactly.
And when you're going 50 yards from field to market or kitchen, then you can make those choices.
Totally.
If it was being shipped across the country, we'd say definitely not. And so that's, I think, a testament to you and your crop review of engaging in that biodiversity conversation. We can do that. A of all because we have a CSA and we can teach them that these heirloom speckled Roman tomatoes are fun and flavorful. Go. And use them in our own kitchen, and we're not shipping them across the country or world. So let's do it.
And we have the benefit of approaching that conversation as farmers of like, what's everyone's favorite thing here? We eat so many tomatoes, so I trust a farmer palate so much. I put so much stock in that. And then we take that and we go to Laura Rose, who manages our produce, and we ask her, what are the sales numbers saying about this thing? How often do we put it in CSA? What's the like material benefit for this particular crop? And we kind of put all of that into a matrix, cross-reference it, and then make decisions.
And say like, is this logical?
Yeah.
And then there's the financial piece of like, excuse me, I think that if we were looking at just the financial breakdown of radicchio.
No, it would make no sense.
It might not make sense.
I can say that. I know it's true.
But do we grow it at a time where there's not really a high opportunity cost because it's not elbowing anything else out, and it's a special thing that that we can really celebrate, and then just because it might not be the leading seller, but it's important, but it feels important for another reason, then we can say yes to it.
Same with celery.
Okay.
which is another passion of mine.
I loved your signs so much this year.
Well, Laura Rose really knows and understands what
I mean in
find.
the field.
Oh, my signs in the field.
Yes. Tell us what your signs in the field said.
My celery sign?
Yeah, your warning
so as
signs.
not to be confused
those were
her
Jess's.
cousin.
Oh,
Jess did those. Yeah.
So smart.
So celery and parsley.
Celery and parsley should not be planted next door to each other.
Because they are the same plant family.
And they look very similar in difference in their infancy. In celery's infancy, it looks just like mature parsley, kind of. And we're trying to avoid having them planted next door, but because of crop rotation and field planning, it ended up that they had to both go in the Northwest. So Jess installed signage.
So something about having a farm that's a teaching farm is that, we don't have the benefit of a crew that everyone's been here for 20 years and they just have the eye where they can just look and say, that's not parsley. I know that it's celery.
Yeah, and I can smell that it's when I cut it.
Right, I just like it doesn't, because I've harvested so many tens of thousands of bunches that I just know that it's not the same thing. And so here we have to think ahead about the mistakes that we know people will make to put plans in place so that to prevent those mistakes from happening.
We learned this in Pick Your Own this year. Don't put pepper plants next to basil.
Yes. They
kind of look similar.
They look too similar. That's been a fear of mine for years.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going through and snipping pepper plants.
Yeah.
A, don't eat a pepper plant, poisonous. And B, now they're dead.
Yeah. They took actually a really long time to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but I just want to hone in one more second on your Celery Passion.
Yeah.
Keep it alive and make sure
you.
it's part of the crop rotation this year and make sure it's part of the crop plan. I was sitting next to Florence Fabricant and she's like, wouldn't it be amazing if there was a small celery on the market? And I was like, Florence, sis, we have it. We have Celery Passion and
That's
we have
a nice
small,
spin.
flavorful celery.
It is so flavorful. It's so delicious.
It will blow your mind.
You need one rib for the
huge pot of soup.
Yeah.
That's enough.
It's just powerful.
It is amazing.
It's like celery concentrate.
Yes,
celery is the hardest thing to grow in my experience.
It's bizarre.
It's impossible from the beginning. Seeding it is impossible.
Germination's terrible.
The germination is awful. It needs light to germinate. You have to mist the trays. They dry out so fast. The seeds blow away. It is a nightmare. Transplanting it is a nightmare. It needs a lot of water. We haven't really.
It's like shallow rooted. There are crops out there that don't want to. There are crops that want to stay alive.
That one does not want to stay alive.
And like a cucumber, not trying to stay alive.
No.
Celery, not trying to stay alive.
No, it's trying to actually actively die every step of the way.
It's a problem.
It's a miracle that we have any celery coming out of the field. And if people understood the amount of hand wringing that went into creating one small stalk of celery, I mean, it's like priced more than gold. I think it should be. But anyway, I love celery. I want to keep trying it. I think we're going to get better at it. We're going to not put it in that field next season because we had a lot of disease issues because we planted it in the same field where we had parsley before. Yeah. So Jess's warning came to fruition and we will rotate it somewhere else next season.
Okay, so we do systems. Okay, to just zip up what the reviews that we do. We talk intensely about crops, but we also talk intensely about systems.
Mm-hmm. And that is with the full crew, like you said. And we actually, I think, rely most heavily on the Apprentice group to kind of give us feedback from their fresh perspective. We're also embedded in our systems by now that it's kind of sometimes you need someone who's coming in from the outside to be like, uh-oh, this might not make that much sense. And you're like, well, yeah, actually, yeah, maybe there is a better way to do this. So we go through every aspect of the farm in systems review. We go through harvest, like what's the day-to-day harvest like? Where are your tools? Are they easily accessible? Do you know where to find things? Do you know once you get to the field what things are, where they are, who's telling you where to go? Does it all make sense? And then there's, infrastructure, like is there enough space for your stuff in the barn? Is there enough?
Is the bathroom near enough to you?
Is the bathroom near enough? Is there enough food in the kitchen? Like is the lunchtime thing, and that's where we have usually a big dishes conversation every season. And then it's like through the rotations, like how can we tweak the apprenticeship program to make it better and more helpful to you? Like what's something you want more of? We talk a lot about vertical integration of like, would you have liked to know more about the market and more about the kitchen? And, the benefit of being a teaching farm is that we have the opportunity every winter to like take things apart and put them back together again. And we've done that every season I've been here. The rotations have changed a little bit. Our chores have changed a little bit.
So
like everything.
Rotations, part of our apprenticeship program is that people rotate through different responsibilities so that they get full exposure and kind of ownership of different pieces of the farm. So they're on watering and chores for a week, they're on packing CSA boxes for a week, they rotate through the flower team, they have an equipment rotation, which means it's their week of driving the tractor that's doing the transplanter, and then they're my partner in shaping beds. And so we're kind of moving people through different responsibilities on the farm, which is inherently inefficient if we were just a production farm, but it's the best way to train everybody more broadly so that when they either come back to us for a second season, they have experience, they know all the pieces, and then we can help them specialize because they've at least done some of everything. Or if they're going to a next farm, we're making them like a more marketable employee because they've done a variety of tasks.
Yeah, Julia worked in the wash station at the farm she was at last season, and that was something she rotated through as an apprentice and rotated through as an advanced crew
So she
member,
had the capacity
and was
to
like,
do it.
yeah, I can run a wash station, like no problem, I got it. And I think that is, you know, inherently inefficient in our model, but by design.
But efficient when we think about training apprentices and regional agriculture, it's really it's efficient to be cranking out people who are then able to be, you know, plugged in to a variety of different systems.
Yeah, you leave here and you know how to operate a tractor, you know how to make a mixed bouquet, you know how to harvest everything, all the cut flowers, all the vegetables, you know how to process things, you know how to make it look good for the market, you know how to take care of seedlings. You kind of touch all of these areas of production. That are like single jobs in themselves.
They could be single jobs in themselves. It helps people specialize and understand if they're starting their own farms. Gosh, I love this piece of this, and I really didn't. I really didn't connect with this other piece. So I wouldn't have that as a part of my farm. You know, there are people who come through here who, you know, have to, you know, had to wait on the public at farmers markets, and then they start their own farms and say, nope, farmers markets aren't for me. No, I'm CSA only, or you know, I don't want to do that. So.
Amelia, do you have, in this last 5 years of experience, a hope or dream to have your own operation or start your own endeavor, or is that swirling and seeding? And
or do you just want to just stay with us forever, please?
Gosh, I mean, it would be really hard to leave here, I have to say. I do think about it. I think there's something really comfortable about being able to learn here with the support of an existing business. And the part of farm ownership that scares me is the financial risk, which I don't
scares
carry.
us too.
Yeah, you guys must feel fine about that. I mean, it's like I no matter what happens with my celery, I am still able to earn a living, and that's not true of a lot of farmers who are, you know, more strapped with their labor and with their margins. And so, yeah, there's like, I don't think I ever would have been able to ascend this level of farm management without the support of an existing structure in place. And so I really value that. But yeah, I do think about starting my own farm. And I especially think about it with, you know, I have loved farming with the people here so much. And it's something that now, you know, that Danielle has gone to grad school and Becca's leaving, and like the kind of natural state of people moving away and moving on to other things. There is this like lingering, like, well, what if we all got together one day and kept farming? And like, what if we all like split some land somewhere? And those kind of thoughts percolate a lot. And I think that speaks to the bonds that we have here, and also to everything we've learned, that we feel like, you know, the four of us, me, Danielle, Becca, Mari, whomever it may be, we could be like, all right, let's just go like do this, and we can make it work.
I think that's one of the fun things about being here. I mean, you and I have been in a lot of, well, we've been in meetings with everyone on the crew, well, in particular the apprentices, these end of year meetings where, and really we start this conversation in July where we say, we'd love for you to stay. You're invited to come back. If you don't want to stay, for whatever reason, you want to go back to where you're from, you're interested in a different geographic area, you want to specialize, you want to get, into livestock farming, whatever, let us know so that we can help make those connections and help you build your next step. I think that's something that, because really as sad as it is when anytime somebody moves on, it's also so exciting because we know that then it's just...
It's a success, like people want to continue doing this work.
Another branch on the Amberwaves tree that just, across the country and really across the world.
Yeah, across the world. Yeah,
of people, people farming in other places that are part of this greater Amberwaves family is really fun. So.
Yeah, and I want to bring attention to, because it is financially risky to start a farm, and someone might be wondering, how on earth is Amberwaves even financially solvent as a 501c3, and they're spending $80,000 a year to train an apprentice, and what's the point, and how are they paying for all of this, and what's going on? But for the apprenticeship program itself, and for the farm as the foundation for everything that we do, it's a platform to train new farmers so that we can solve this crisis. There's a workforce crisis in agriculture. We are about to not have enough farmers to grow our food. So that is a challenge that we are tackling, in addition to the climate challenge that you brought up earlier. But the way that we are paying for this is through fundraising. And so we have family foundations that are committed to and understand the challenges that agriculture, both locally, regionally, and nationally, that we're facing in this country, that want to invest in our program to train new farmers, to launch them so they can start their own, and there becomes this ripple effect of positive change in other communities. And I just want to make an important point that if not but for that investment through foundations and individuals, we wouldn't be able to do this training work. So this is an important time of year for us to draw attention to. We are a school, we train new farmers, and if you understand why that matters, or if you don't, we'll help you get there, that we need your financial support. And we have some foundations that have stepped up in a big way that understand the national crisis that's looming. And as a successful model that we're training new farmers who are then launching their own businesses, we have a track record of success. So what we need to do is raise more money so that we can train more farmers, so that we can meet these crises that are coming. And I think that the important part of this fundraising is having someone like you, Amelia, on in a conversation to open this up. Because who is farming in the country right now? Who will be farming in this country in the next decade? Who is going to be in charge of our food supply? Is a conversation to be having now with you, because you are training Gen Z, and you have your finger on the pulse with this group of how to encourage them to get into agriculture and stay in agriculture, and what does it take for then you to want to start your own, and what do you need to do that? It's important for us to know if we're in the business of training new farmers, and we need to have more sustainable regenerative farms in this country, both to replace farmers that are going to retire, but also more is better. We need financial funding for our program to be able to scale that and grow that work. And we're doing that in partnership with the Rodale Institute in the coming year. And there's a coalescing right now around making sure that the public awareness is such that the state of agriculture, of food crops that we eat, I'm not talking about commodity crops, I'm talking about food crops that we eat. We need more food farmers. So thank you for doing your work in teaching food farmers, and we need the financial support to keep doing it.
Yeah, the thing that in talking in just the interview process this season is there is not a shortage of people who are excited about doing this. There's a shortage of opportunity for people to carve a path towards this work.
Right.
And
that's a very important point.
And with our program in particular, and something that I learn anytime I'm traveling to other farms who host apprenticeship programs, or the national field school that Danielle and I just presented at a conference last month, is that our program is paid, and so it removes barriers for people who are not in a position to either go back to ag school or to pay for a training program. And so it broadens and widens the sphere of who's able to apply to these positions, because we're really seeking people who come from areas and families of food insecurity or food deserts who are uniquely situated and qualified to go back to those places and solve those issues head on there where they're from. And in order to get that group of people into agriculture, you'd have to remove the barrier of having to pay for the training. And that's why this is expensive. It's paid training time. It's like being paid to go to grad school.
And then, as an apprentice, like I said, coming in, it was easy for me. Like, I didn't have to think about where I was going to live. I didn't have to think about what it, the financial hit, because this is a job, and it's like those things that are taken for granted, I think, in a lot of teaching opportunities are just completely, they're not even on the radar here. It's like, it's just a given that you're going to
that there is housing, it is paid, and then we take that on, the farm takes that on as, okay, it's our responsibility to
provide essentially a scholarship to a farmer in training. That's how we are fundraising to pay for farmers to learn how to become farmers, right? That's like, I think the scholarship model is something that's digestible. And that's right, like, you arrive and we make sure that all the things that, you need to wake up and have a successful day are there, because hang on to your seats, it's really hard to learn how to become a farmer. So we're trying to remove all those other challenges.
Amelia said that it's easy all these times, but
okay, it's not.
It's not.
You make it look easy, sis.
I don't know if that's true.
You do. And you're a shining example of making sure that, like, it looks easy, but man, we know that's what we were trying to draw the curtains on, what's going on behind the scenes here, because you are puppet mastering some extraordinarily complicated orchestra of plants and people. And you have this symphony going on, and you're the conductor of it all. And it is oftentimes people are like, oh, what am I going to have for dinner? Oh, well, let's just tell you how that dinner was made.
Good thing Amelia thought about this 6 months ago. This reminds me, and we have to wrap up, but we just could talk to you all day. I don't know how to prompt you to tell this story in the context of this story without giving away the story of what happened on the back deck and the delivery person. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. This was in the spring. I was loading up amendments to amend our fields.
And amendments that are, and which serve the purpose of?
I was loading up lime to correct our pH levels in one of our fields.
And loading it using a heavy machinery piece of equipment.
Using my body.
Using your heavy equipment
body. So I was loading up.
Amelia, a former power lifter.
Retired now.
That's for a different, we're going to talk about protein and gains in a different time. And Megan's going to be our other guest on that one.
Perfect.
Okay, but
I was loading up the pendulum spreader, which is an implement that we use to spread amendments over our fields. And I was in amendment season, you will regularly load up a pallet full of these amendments, and they're 50-pound bags each. So you'll load up 50 bags, and before you know it, you've manually moved, a ton or more of material.
Because we're talking about per
2,500 pounds.
2,500 pounds.
Right, is more than a ton. For anyone who's out there fact checking. But so, because it's typically 500 pounds an acre, 2,000 pounds an acre. Those are the sorts of recommendations we're getting for these amendments.
So I was loading up amendments, and this is like a very heavy time of year when you're doing this a lot. So I had my work tunes on, my Bluetooth headphones, which have made my farming so much better. And I was just like in it, I was like on a time crunch. I was loading up, and I was going back and forth, bag. And I see out of the corner of my eye, like a congregation of men gathering. And I kind of like broke the spell and was like, oh, and they were all sitting next to our plumber truck, and they were all just watching me. And I thought they maybe needed someone to sign something. And so I walked over and I took off my mask and I was like, hey, can I help you guys with something? And they all just stood there, and one of them said, where are you from? And I said, Florida. And then I was like, is that all you needed? And then he said, you are so strong. You are lifting those bags like it's nothing. And I was like, thank you. okay, so is that it? That was all you guys needed? And they were like, yeah, no, go ahead. And then I just went back to work. But yeah, where are you from?
The thing that really made the story for me, and I appreciate when people like come into into the office in the back, and they bring me, I love to bring me a treasure from the field. So like, you know, a discard, a horseshoe that's 60 years old. They're
any
more
rusty
than
metal
that.
goes
Any
a long
rusty
way
metal
with
goes
Amanda.
to, I'm like kind of like the collector of weird, I love old
you have like
things.
the boneyard.
Yeah, I have the boneyard.
Yeah.
And the people just like leave me offerings outside my office door. It's like a deer antler. It's it's weird out there. But they also bring me treasures of stories and information. And Amelia came back like at lunch that day and told me this story. And when he said, "Where are you from?" and she said to me, "Amanda, you're not going to believe it. I had to say to this man, Florida." Which is like, no.
That's like the most like embarrassing thing you can say. It's like, I wish I could have, I don't know, but I don't know what he thought I was going to say.
Well,
like,
he was thinking not Earth.
no, and that's, I mean, that's like,
because
like
you're
Marines.
The planet
You
where
must
Wonder
be an
Woman is from.
angel,
Like, I don't,
right.
I don't know
Something's
where,
happening
what would
extraterrestrial.
explain it.
Like, how can I've just never seen a
Amanda,
woman work like that before, I guess.
had to say
to this man, Florida. Yeah. And that explained everything. And they were just like, okay, carry on. So yeah.
And he was sitting there thinking, well, I couldn't do that. So
Right.
there we are.
50-pound bags to make it look like it's nothing. Yeah, that's what farming gives you.